4.1 Ordinary Kinloch Representative Group meeting, 15th of February. Any clarification on those minutes, Madam Chair?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a point of clarification, because these were draft minutes that were approved at our meeting that was last week. It's just that the timing makes it difficult. There was just one point on page 24 where the committee was talking about the Kinloch structure plan, and I just wanted to, we made an amendment to the minutes just to capture what happened that was discussed that day, and I just wanted to reiterate it because it's not in the minutes. But it is very clearly the direction of the Kinloch Representative Group that the Council needs to adhere to the Kinloch Structure Plan. This plan involved extensive consultation with the community when it was developed, and the community is very concerned that variations granted are deviating from the intent and purpose of the plan. So we've captured that in the amended minutes, but I just wanted, because there are so many minutes through today, to highlight that key point to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Johns. Are you happy to move those minutes? Moved by Councillor Johns, seconded by Councillor Rankin. All those in favour, please say aye. Those against? Carried. 4.2 Ordinary Turangi-Tongariro Community Board meeting. Okay, sure, yeah, and welcome the chair of that Turangi-Tongariro Community Board. Welcome Andy Hemmer down the back there. Is there any resolutions that you want us to approve today going forward? Or is this recommendation? Yeah, there's a recommendation there. Did you want to talk to that recommendation, Andy, at all?
Yes, sir.
Certainly, come forward, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Good afternoon, councillors and staff. I'm not too sure how much of this you're aware of, but we're asking for your approval to the for 170k to accommodate temporary buildings or temporary containers for to house the young ones or any sporting teams who visit Turangi. What we've got is one 40-foot container which will house 5 toilets. It's split in two. In one half there's 3 toilets, and the other half there's two toilets and a urinal. And then there is also 2 20-foot containers which are changing rooms and showers. During the winter for a few years now, the young ones have had nowhere to change, and if you know Turangi at all, in the winter it is fairly cold, and these young ones are there changing in the mornings at the coldest time of the day, and if they're lucky they're changing in the back of their parents' vehicle, or those who don't have a vehicle are changing behind those vehicles or behind a tree or wherever they can. And while it's fine, it's not too bad, but you know, winter is all sorts of weather is thrown at us, and if you can imagine the kids who have been playing a game in the rain and that, and then drying off afterwards is very challenging for them. But there's also for our visitors who come as well, you know, it's awfully embarrassing having to host our visitors, and with the lack of accommodation as far as changing and toilets. The public toilets that are down in the park sometimes okay, other days they're just not usable, mainly because of the high water. You end up with a back flush and you're sitting in the crap really. You're puddling around in it, so it's not really acceptable. These temporary buildings will remain council-owned assets. They're portable enough to be moved around to wherever the need is. Hopefully after 4 years, where Turangi would be finished with them, because you would have approved more permanent buildings.
Thank you, Andy. Any questions of Andy?
Mr. Chairman, the question's not for yourself, Andy, because I support what you're attempting to do. Unbudgeted money again. I'm just wondering whether it could come out of our renewals. I think this year we're allowed 2.4 million for renewals for communities. Cannot come from that budget.
He's answer that. Alan? Sorry, Alan, did you get the question?
Yeah, I got the question.
Can we take it out of renewals?
I don't have the information in front of me, but it will be a CapEx expenditure, so the financial impact will be quite minimal. But yes, we will try and meet it out of current budgets. We'll try.
So try is the operative word, is it? Or is
Well,
how does it work?
yes, we're actually in the process of doing a detailed reforecast as far as this year's financials are concerned, which I was going to refer to in the CEO's report. Until that particular exercise is completed, we will not be able to say 100% yes or 100% no as far as whether that renewals budget will encompass this as well. But we're quietly confident that we can meet it out of current budgets.
Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Hickling?
So the total cost of these facilities come at 270,000, is that correct?
160.
With the 100,000 that's in the LTP and 170, is that? No?
170.
Pardon?
170.
So it's 170 in total, but there's 100 already in the LTP.
So what is the unbudgeted amount?
The difference between the two, 70,000.
70,000, not 170. Okay, okay, that's fine. I just wanted clarification.
Well,
yeah.
Sorry, it's a
Sorry.
timing issue. So
It's a timing issue.
100,000 of it is a timing issue, and that you've got in your draft.
Yeah, well, we'd already made the decision to pull that forward, haven't we, because of the season, I thought.
No. No. So you've got $100,000 sitting in your draft long-term plan for next year. So
Next
that
year.
comes in July.
Which is too late.
Which
for
is
the
too
season.
late for this season.
Yeah.
So officially it's unbudgeted for that whole amount, but of course then you have allowed 100 in your draft plans for next year. So that's really only 70,000 new money if we were talking next year, but it's 170 in total, if that makes sense.
Okay, well, I'm comfortable with that.
But just for clarification, Mr. Chairman, because it's in the long-term plan, starts the 1st of July for that financial year, do we claw that money back? Because it needs to be done before the winter. Do we claw that money back? Or how does that work?
So it's officially unbudgeted expenditure because that money doesn't appear until July next year. So we'd be raising the loan before that period to pay for the works to happen. And then obviously the money then comes next year, which then pays for that.
So then it would be budgeted money. It's not like it's something that's added to the list of...
It's not added, but it is unbudgeted money because you don't have the money this year and
This
would be
year,
raising the orders and paying the bills this year.
Well, that would change the way I'd vote as long as it's not something that's in addition to what we've already provided.
70,000 of it is.
$70,000, yeah.
Can I just clarify on the long-term plan for the permanent structure that's proposed? When is that? How long are these
don't
containers
think
going to likely to be there?
Sorry, Your Worship, there's
Is
not
it-
been a decision because we're not quite sure through the
Yeah.
reserve management plan process, we're not sure what is actually required.
Right, okay.
So-
So
so
that's not in the long-term plan yet
That's
then?
not,
No.
as
No.
far
So
as I'm aware, no?
It's likely that would be through the next 3 years.
The next 3 years.
Depending on where the reserve management plan goes, how this works and what the timing of that happens. There may be an opportunity to do it sooner than that through a LTP amendment or something at some point, but at this point it would be that 3 year.
Okay, and no doubt the community board have discussed the look of the containers. They won't stand out like the proverbial, will they?
Yes, yeah, we've had a good look at
You've had a
these.
good talk about that?
Yeah, there was some question about, the 20-footers, whether we're going to fit the required people in, a little modification, and we're confident that we will sit 15 people in those, and, they're not in there for a long time anyway.
In the current block, will they go alongside them, or is it in front of them, or where's it actually going, sorry?
Where the old Pihanga Lions Club building was, the one
okay.
that's just recently been pulled down.
Oh, on the car park site
Yeah.
there. Good, yeah, cool. All right, any other questions, Andy? Yes, Councillor Truman.
Yeah, so we put 100,000 into the long-term plan for this, and so council underestimated that, so it's come back at 170. That's right. We thought at 100. So I'm just signalling that the same thing was required at Mangakino as well. So again, it's different, but yeah, just signalling to council that we've got our meeting coming up, and if we've underestimated the cost, then we've probably underestimated it for Mangakino too. But
So if I can just clarify for the chairs, one little thing out of that, it's not actually an underestimation of the cost, it's increased scope to what we'd initially talked about. So so when the board went through it and looked at what they could get for that money, it's quite a differ from what the community wants, and so it's an increased scope, it's an increased level of service than what we were originally thinking.
Councillor Kingi.
Yeah, thanks, Your Worship. I just obviously want to speak in support of this as the chair of the Reserves, co-chair of the Reserves Management Committee with Turangi-Tongariro. This has certainly been an issue that's been a live issue for the joint committee as a part of the body of work that we have to work through. Just in terms of why this has come here, and going back to what Gareth has actually said, what the intent was behind, I guess, moving this way, and as the package, or as the plans were put together, we were woefully under-resourced in terms of what we wanted to occur and what the budgets were set at. So this is really a correction to that. Like the chairman has just said, this provides a facility for our kids at least for the next few seasons while we develop the master plan. But certainly I can't stress enough that it does become a district asset. This isn't something that will just go onto the shelf and live out its life gathering dust. These facilities, or these containers, really do become a very valuable resource to this council and can be manoeuvred around the district after the fact. So really implore councillors to look at it as a district resource.
Thank you, Councillor Kingi. And thank you, Andy. All right, back to the minutes. Could I have a mover for those minutes, please? Remember Councillor Kingi, seconded by Councillor Stewart. And the resolution's accepted. All those in favour, please say aye. There. That's the recommendation becomes a resolution once the minutes have been confirmed.
I think that's what was just moved.
We'll move the minutes, confirming the minutes with and accepting the recommendation, which will now become a resolution. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against? Carried. Thank you. Thanks, Andy.